What's up, Bears fans? This is Bearlissimo. This is a defensive breakdown today. I apologise I didn't get anything out last week. It was due to me being ill. I don't know if you can tell, my voice is still a little bit hoarse, but I thought we'd jump into this with the defence this week. We're taking a look at the first drive of the Vikings against the Bears. Not much resistance up front, I'm afraid, on the first possession. The Vikings managed to score in the first 4 possessions consecutively with 3 touchdowns and a field goal. It's in the 5th drive where things start to change up, but we'll start right here with the first drive. And one of the guys that you need to make sure you're covering is Justin Jefferson. There we see him marked up, but you've got a stack kind of release here. Obviously, tight end on the line, Thielen over here. It looks like what we're showing is sort of cover 3 or cover 1 potentially. Obviously, we look sort of manned up over here with that's Brisker over the tight end. You've got Kindle Vildor over Thielen. Let's roll into it, see what we see. Motion, what's the motion telling us? Okay, so what's the motion telling us? That tells us now we're obviously in some sort of zone under. So it looks like 4 under. So this would be the short zone. This would be the middle zone. This would be that zone, short, flat zone there. So in terms of zones, who are your potential threats? That's the only sort of threat. Well, to this, we've got 2 threats. That's threat number 1 for Kyler Gordon. That would be threat number 2 for, that's Morrow here. That would be, clear that off. Here would be threat number 1 or potentially 2 coming from this side. Then 3, depending upon where they start their routes. And then obviously in terms of that's the way you look at your zone. What we do see in the zone is we've done a little bit of redundancy. So in terms of linebackers and Kyler Gordon, Kyler not so much. I mean, he needs to get depth here to the back of his zone because that's where the first threat is. And then as he comes up, he needs to sort of approach the halfback coming out to this area. Obviously, Morrow and Roquan Smith are quite clearly looking back at the quarterback, so they're completely unaware of where their nearest threats are. And even their secondary threat is only because it's in the eye line. Obviously, Roquan's now looking into the backfield, nothing there. That's where his next potential threat is. But obviously, this is where his threat is, but he's not even looking at him. We do see the sort of 3 deep kind of look that we are actually looking and sort of pressing up. The problem is we're quite detached from where we are, and obviously this is completely redundant because we don't even have anyone pressing where you can quite clearly see where the first down marker is coming across the field at this sort of point. So issues particularly in sort of the basic zone, and because we're so far off here and still backpedaling, you can quite clearly see Jalen Jones, he's a rookie at the end of the day, undrafted, all the rest of it. This is really far too soft in zone. That's much more like it in zone there. But this is far too soft, particularly against their number 1 wide receiver. And again, with Kyler Gordon or the linebacker, you really want someone at depth or at least being able to rally to the ball. Obviously, Kirk Cousins is going to take sort of gravy like that all day. Thankfully, Justin Jefferson doesn't bother cutting it back. He gets out of bounds, knowing he's going to take a hit. So what does the pressure look like up front? Well, in terms of what we're going to get is double inside, and they're quite happy to leave one-on-one. Our premium pass rusher in Robert Quinn, and I think that's Dominic Robinson is the other one. No, it's not. It's Al-Qadim Mohammed, who's sort of playing that play action. Obviously, going after it. Quinn gets upfield against Darisaw. I just want to see him dip and sort of bend back towards the QB a little bit. He just runs past. He loses his left foot just there. Look, just loses his grip with his left foot there. That's the reason why he doesn't get home. But again, you can see both linebackers peeking into the backfield. Nothing there. You want to actually be looking at potentially where the threats you need to cover are. Cousins, easy completion over the top. Justin Jefferson, the only guy you really do need to make sure that you are covering is left in a soft zone. Not a great start. This is the 3rd play from the first series. Obviously, we're in our formation with a tight end. So fullback on the field. Again, we look like we're sort of cover 2 pre-snap without any motion. It kind of looks like cover 2 base defense, I guess you'd call it, with 3 linebackers up in the box. So Thielen comes in. You see Vildor is quite clearly matching him inside. What I do like is Vildor quite clearly passing off here. And again, our safeties need to be aware of what they've got. And they've only got 2 threats potentially downfield here. Obviously, we've got very high play action, but as you see, in terms of reading your keys, no one's really getting off the line of scrimmage. So as a linebacker, I'm not really seeing them aggressively block this double, come upfield. They're not really, that's singled there, and this is sort of double here. So I'm not really seeing much. So I'm not going to buy too heavy that play fake because the guard is not getting off the line of scrimmage. Everyone's basically coming straight down, which, it's fine if you're running outside zone, but it doesn't look like outside zone because we've got a fullback leading up into the hole. So again, not a particularly great bluff. And again, the thing that we need to be aware of is where are your threats. What I do like is Kyler Gordon is sort of bailing. You see he's bailing. A little bit late with Vildor bailing here. So if this is a short, and again, if this is a short, got acres of space to be able to throw this into. Obviously, we'll see what... there goes the boot. Roquan decides to convert to a blitz. Morrow, again, has got two people now because Roquan's deserted his zone. Really, that sort of, back of the zone. He's behind that sort of deep zone there. So Vildor's left in sort of a bit of no man's land. Morrow is definitely left in no man's land. He's got three people, and Roquan has decided to blitz the QB. Easy completion on the check down, and at the end of the day, really, he's got this or this on. This to the sideline here, or this, because at the end of the day, if he throws that to the sideline, Vildor is here. You could throw the ball here as well. Jefferson's running onto it, up against the safety. But he decides to check down. He checks down to the easy throw, just easy completion. Take it. Vildor does come up and make a good tackle there on a tight end. So, nice tackle. Again, particularly poor in the zone discipline. Again, looking up front, you need to realise they're not coming off the line of scrimmage. You can quite clearly see Ezra Cleveland, the guard, coming and helping Darisaw. He's moving literally, completely laterally, and that's your key. That's your key. That's your guard that you're reading. Fullback comes in, he's going to escape and come across. Both of these escape. If you get a chip like this from a fullback, so right here, Al-Qadim Mohammed, if you get a chip like that from a fullback, you know that it's not a run. Again, Morrow sort of needs to be starting earlier. Again, Adams needs to be chasing a little bit harder over here to sort of be in this area of his zone. There's no threat here, don't forget. So there's Vildor left in the Devil on the deep blue sea with three people to cover. Morrow's got potentially 3 people to cover. And again, we're not far enough over. And Roquan has completely deserted his zone to convert to a blitz because Al-Qadim Mohammed sold inside on the run. Easy completion. We didn't at least take Thielen or Justin Jefferson, which he could have done quite easily. So again, zone defense showing his issues, particularly when we sell inside on a block, which is quite clearly then a release here. That's the point in which, if you are going to blitz Roquan, right now is when you need to blitz. He which he does, to be fair, he does convert. But again, everyone's sold out on this run. Way too hard. Not so bad here, Roquan, so I'm going to give you a pass on that one. But it needs to be better across the board because that's, again, in zone was shocking. Rolling straight into the fourth play. Again, it looks like we're in what looks like cover 3. Pre-snap. Everyone's off. 3 linebackers underneath. Well, 4, because it's actually 3 linebackers, so it's like an overlook, although we're away from the tight end. Normally that would be, the will would actually be over here, and that would be, the strong side linebacker would be over here, because obviously that's where the tight end is. But at the end of the day, we've got Jaquan Brisker here as the uncounted safety in the box. Everyone bows it. He's quite clearly cover 3. So again, cover 3, be aware of where your threats are. And again, we're looking completely lost in coverage here. Not so much this side because, it is really this side because we've got nothing to cover. If we've got nothing to cover, someone should be converting because we've only got 2 routes deep. And against 2 routes deep, are they going to make a completion? Well, yes, because Kyler Gordon is selling way too early, bailing and keeping deep. Jefferson really doesn't do anything particularly spectacular here. He's outside to in leverage. So, that's kind of where you need to. But you really want to be getting, if you're going to be doing this, you want to keep facing. You don't want to turn your hips that early. He's not actually threatening you there. He's still 3 yards away. So, just be patient on that. He does sort of turn and recognise, and he does come up as the ball gets there. A good solid hit on Justin Jefferson. But at the end of the day, in terms of coverage, we've only got 2 routes deep. Everyone else is staying in. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defenders covering 2, and we still can't manage to match it up tight. So again, not a great start in terms of zone defense, in terms of our reads or recognising our threats. And again, in terms of Eddie is kind of going the right way. They're quite wide split on the field though, so again, giving Eddie a pass. Kyler, just be aware of where he is. At the end of the day, it's Justin Jefferson. He's probably going to be targeting him. Maybe just bracket him a little bit tight. You do have help over the top from Eddie Jackson. But everyone underneath was completely redundant. All of this, just complete waste of time. No one's covering anything. Into the 4th play of the video. It's the 7th play of the drive. Again, talking about your relationships, you're looking at where the alignment is quite clearly outside to in, and what looks like one high with a safety rolling up to be And again, Roquan's even pointing to the spot. So we're giving plenty of clues to what is a veteran QB who's sort of looking at it. But what are they doing this time? So again, it looks like cover 3 to me after the snap. You quite clearly see Thielen giving a key here. So this time, are the linemen coming off the line of scrimmage? So you're looking at your centre, looking at your guard. So Angelo Blackson gets off well there and stones Ezra Cleveland into the backfield. Robinson here does a good job getting upfield, and again keeping that outside contained. So you see Dalvin Cook has to come back. The problem is Travis Gibson against the tight end here kind of gets his head inside, not outside in. So he loses that outside contain, and we kind of run into both of us run into the whams basically. So this is I believe who's that? Is that Nicholas Morrow runs into a wham? Kyler Gordon, that's Jaquan Brisker runs into a wham. Again, we need to be recognising way earlier. At least Eddie's recognising, and it looks like Jalen Jones is recognising. But Kindle Vildor a little bit too far off for me. A little bit slow to come up and recognise that. Again, Morrow coming off that block. We got sealed way too easy there. Easy cutback. Again, looking up front, what do we do? Mike Pennell not really getting off the line of scrimmage at all, so that's where they create a void for that cutback with these two. In terms of reading the keys, when you don't see him press wide here, you've got to be expecting sort of an inside to cut back. So if he presses wide, yeah, by all means, let's do this. Well, let's do this. But if he's coming in sort of towards the guard and you see centre coming over like this, then you need to start thinking, we've got outside contain there. Okay, so maybe we're going to do this. And there's the cutback, and you see everyone getting washed across. At the end of the day, you get a 2-for-1 here on Roquan. On the outside, what happens with the outside contain? Well, Travis Gibson sells his head across, trying to stay play side and chase the play down from the backside. With a guy who can cut back like this and accelerate. And again, looking at this, what I do love is that Kyler Gordon just absolutely minces Adam Thielen trying to get the block. Does keep outside contain. That's quite clearly a hold, ladies and gentlemen. Not called, but at the end of the day, the Bears get stiffed every single week. Morrow at least then does recognise and get off his block eventually, but it's like a 6-7 yard gain because our DBs are lined up 30 yards back and we don't recognise the run early enough. 8th play of the drive, if you couldn't tell by the 7th play, I'm starting to roll into sarcasm mode already. Again, alignments give you clues to what the coverage is in terms of what we're looking at. What's interesting here is where Roquan is so wide from the middle linebacker here, which is Morrow in this instance. And again, it looks like we're in nickel because we've got DB up here. So in terms of coverage, Kyler Gordon is in the nickel. So again, looking at the guards, reading your guards, you quite clearly know everyone's coming alongside the line of scrimmage and not really going anywhere. Morrow completely disappears. This is his zone here because, again, he's biting way too hard on the run. Justin Jefferson, so this is man. So what it actually turns into, it looks like cover 2, but it rolls into one man. So one being Eddie Jackson High. He's coming down to sort of help with, design blitz on this play side run, which we've got, 2 people. Morrow's biting, Roquan's biting. We've got man here, we've got man here, and we've got man here. Problem is, Nicholas Morrow has been chasing up way too hard on the play fake already. Coming way too far downhill. At the end of the day, he's the free man here, and so is Roquan. They should be in sort of zones round about here, under to sort of spy what's going on there. And you quite clearly see that, now we're starting to look at the tight end because that's our under guy. But look at the distance there, look at the distance here. He really does have, at the end of the day, he's going to throw to Justin Jefferson because, throw to Justin Jefferson. He could have had a touchdown here, to be honest, if he puts the ball over here somewhere. Eddie's probably not going to make that in time unless he catches up really quick. He does actually, to be fair. So, but Justin Jefferson being this far open in man, that's... When you've got outside leverage and you can see him breaking in straight away, and then you're still getting depth, you can quite clearly see he's getting depth as Justin's going across the field, we're going this way. That's where the separation occurs. You're not going to catch him up from behind in that sort of short space of time. And again, Kindle Vildor, much vilified Kindle Vildor, coming off his man, which he does to great effect later in zone, stripping at the ball, be a bit more physical. Kyler Gordon again, who's in pretty good coverage here. Kyler Gordon, much maligned Kyler Gordon, in man, pretty decent coverage there with the safety over the top. watch him come up and make that sort of tackle, that sort of impetus there. That's a good hit there by Kyler Gordon. Again, looking at what we're seeing here, yeah, tight end here, but are you in on the tight end? Are you in on the halfback? Possibly, man, which would leave the void. But the real issue is Jalen Jones, as you quite clearly see, as he just bends over his route, you're just not going to catch him from that point. And again, that's a very linear route to start off with. Kyler manages to catch up and sort of chase as he turns. There you see Kindle Wilder come off and try and strip the ball, and then Kyler comes in with a nice hit. Ninth play of the drive, and we're now seeing a motion. What's the motion telling you? That we're in some sort of zone. Looks like potentially a 1 high zone or 3. It could be a 3 there with a man. So let's see what it develops into. Tight end, quite clearly, is the only guy that's over the top of that is Jaquan Brisker. Let's see what they do. It's again biting way too hard on the sort of the run fakes and getting, as we turn back, Justin Jefferson, the only man you really need to be worried about. We're biting way too hard on these runs, bearing in mind that, the Vikings really haven't run that much to this point. What they have done is hit this guy constantly. 7 completions in the first drive. And at the end of the day, everyone runs off. We completely lose our bearings as to where the threats are. We've got 1, 2, 3 in zone. This is zone. This is short zone. There's your 2 high. That's the guy he's going to throw to. And we've got 3 people around him, no one close enough. And there you go, easy completion. What's it look like up front? Obviously, we know it's play action. We're going across the line of scrimmage. Nice work here by, I think that might be Travis Gibson. Really stuffing into the backfield. But again, we're sort of flowing laterally. No one's really getting into the backfield. Robinson does recognise and convert. Again, we need to be more aware of where the possible threats are in our zone. It wasn't really that hard a play fact because everyone just goes laterally. They don't come downhill, which they normally do. But it's at least a decent tackle that time. Mercifully, oh yes, I'll hear you cry. We're getting close towards the end of the first drive. Again, we look like inside to outside relationship there. We look inside shade here, and we're definitely inside shade here, suggesting that we've got some sort of man with a zone under and a zone over the top. Coverage, let's see what we get. Halfback in the backfield, tight end to this side, recognise that. So let's have a look, see what we get. Again, Justin Jefferson, probably the man you want to be looking at if we're going to guess anywhere on pass, and we are in shotgun, let's not forget. Quite clearly pass, tight end is staying in, as is halfback. Again, we're turning into, so it looked like cover 2 initially. What did it turn into? It turned into like a 0 because that's the nickel. We've got a blitz, we've got a blitz, we've got a blitz. And then we get Eddie kind of coming over here to, is it Eddie? Yeah, it is Eddie. No, it's Jaquan. Coming over here to help with Jalen Jones, who's been abused all day so far by Justin Jefferson. Again, to be this far off in 0 is pretty shocking, to be honest, when you know you've got a safety help from that side and there's no other threat out in the field. Justin Jefferson, easy completion again. Again, we're not even selling a run or anything. So we're blitzing, but we're so late and we're so deep off the line of scrimmage. And Kyler Gordon, sort of in terms of timing up this blitz, it's way too late. And we've got no chance of getting home on that blitz. It's just a 1-2 throw, and then there you go. He even holds it a little bit longer. See him get a little bit sort of crow hoppy there. Well, yeah, he's quite low, but crow hoppy, easy completion, and it's almost a touchdown. Very next play is a touchdown. Obviously, they're looking heavy run. We've only got one here. We've got tight end. We've got I think tackle eligible to that side as well. So tackle eligible, tight end, fullback. Quite clearly a heavy run set. In terms of what we're looking, this is the overload side. So again, in terms of run defense, you almost want to split down from the center. That's a terrible line. Let's try drawing it again. We'll go from the backfield this time. Might make it a bit easier. So you're kind of looking there in terms of like the number of blockers compared to the number of defenders that you have. And quite clearly you can see 1, 2, which is 2 DBs, let's not forget, 3, 4, 2 D linemen, 1 linebacker, 5. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a potential 6th with a 7th behind it. So if I was a betting man, I'd say, well, the numbers look pretty good there. This side of the line, the numbers don't look so good because we've got 4 on 3. So a betting man's going to say it's going to be running over here. Let's see what it goes. See if the defense recognises where it goes. And we're going even heavier over this side, and the fullback's now shifting. Is anyone recognise the shift? No, we're still not moving. We're still looking to come downhill. We're still not recognising the shift over here. We're sort of starting to slant down on this edge. What could possibly be coming, I hear you cry. Well, it's a seal and we get sealed easy. It's a seal and we get sealed easy. Kyler Gordon, bless him, he's going to come on and take the fullback, and he does a pretty good job. Roquan way too late. This defense, I think that might be Briscoe who's trying to play edge contain. He's a DB for Christ's sake and a rookie at that. We're asking him to play edge contain rather than maybe putting him further away from the line of scrimmage and having a linebacker do that job, which could be Roquan because he's a weak side linebacker. At the end of the day, we put Briscoe in a bad position. I'm not going to knock a rookie for that. Kyler Gordon, as we're going to see from the other angle, really does make a good effort to try and stop this. And again, Jaquan Briscoe's put in a bad position for me. If I'm going to do anything, I'm probably going to have Roquan here and have the two reversed because I want my bigger hitter at the line of scrimmage. We even go further away from this side. In terms of blocking now, we've got 4 on 1 man on the line of scrimmage and 2 here. If we were to go here, that's an easy seal. And then we've got these 3, boom, 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 with a fullback. Away you go. And this is quite embarrassing, really, for Jaquan Briscoe. He gets thrown, and then the tight end comes and takes that. It's an easy walk in with this guy on the floor. Just you can take your pick of where you're going. Briscoe does a good job. Look at Kyler Gordon taking on a fullback as well. You want to talk about effort? That's really good effort. Just absolutely stops the fullback dead. He's got a running start on him. Good effort, but no cigar. Not a great first drive. The next 3 drives after that were pretty much more of the same. So what changed? I'm glad you asked what changed. Well, this is the start of the 5th drive. We look like we're in cover 1 again, possibly cover 3 with our alignment. This time Eddie Jackson's sort of rolling up, so we've got a bit of a difference there with Jaquan Briscoe. Much wider in terms of alignment of defensive ends, threatening the 1, and then we've got obvious 3 here, so it's almost a 0 there. Let's see what we get up front. So motion, again, what's the motion telling you? Well, we're rotating out, we're coming inside to be a run defender now. So it's some sort of match, you would assume. You're going to get a wham here, and then Kyler Gordon. When you see guys go off and then create a line like this, you really need to be looking this way because that's going to be your field. And Kindle Vildor needs to be jetting up now because they've created a cutback. And the problem is that Kyler just gets caught looking inside again. It's been a bit of a weakness. At least he's attacking the line of scrimmage, trying to get underneath this block. He just doesn't see the crack here, and that's the reason why he gets sealed. Kindle Vildor then left up against a tight end who's coming across the formation. Safety's coming up quite late. I like the fact that Jaquan Briscoe's breaking down a little bit there, but Dalvin Cook's a pretty quick back. Easy first down on first down, to be honest. So in terms of what are the linebackers doing, and again in terms of this, really is divorcing yourself way too much. Just have patience. If anyone's going to widen, let Roquan widen as he gets out towards the tackle. You don't need to go this early. You're making a problem for yourself here, Nicholas Morrow. In terms of what we get, again, that's the 1 tech side. Justin Jones trying to get in there. Got almost what looks like, some sort of trap there. Again, squeezing down. When he goes away like that, I kind of almost want to see you come up 2 yards and then squeeze. And we get caught underneath, and that's the problem because you're not coming across the line of scrimmage. You want to go up 2 yards and then squeeze down. So 2 steps up and then squeeze down, not just squeeze down at the line of scrimmage. The reason why is because then you get caught underneath that. So not a great job here by Travis Gibson. We're going to forgive him a little bit, but not a great job in terms of getting upfield and then squeezing down. We don't do it. We just traverse down the line of scrimmage. And to be honest, you're seeing a counter step here. If you're looking at the halfback, you're seeing a counter step. You expect him to come here, and then you just come straight up towards him. This has got no chance of blocking you. So again, this is me doing it in slow motion. Let's do it at full speed. Again, it's just squeezing down too quick there, and it's not even needed to be blocked. And that's why I think actually we're going to put the blame on Travis Gibson there. So after an easy first down and a run, it looks like we're now sort of more up in press, but we do look like we're in either cover 6 or I say cover 6 because we're off and we've got 2 safeties high, or possibly even cover 2 because that could be a match concept here. Let's see, motion comes across and you do see a safety roll over and a linebacker widen. So what does that tell you? And again, we're sort of traversing across to this. And again, we're seeing a counter step already. Well, a toss step. And so Robinson's getting up across the line of scrimmage. Quinn needs to be coming a little bit flatter, but you see the difference between what Gibson did the previous play and what Quinn does. Quinn's 2 yards in the backfield squeezing down, whereas Gibson was at the line of scrimmage. That's what Quinn almost makes a tackle, but no cigar. Travis Gibson this time resetting into the backfield. Good job. Again, Jalen Jones against an offensive tackle. Or is it? Sorry, guard. No, it is a tackle on a trap. That's pretty good effort there in terms of taking on a tackle. Up front, we don't really get much from the linebackers because Roquan's just sort of, again, this is unforgivable for me. This is a effing wide receiver, for Christ's sake. That's pathetic. That really is pathetic. And again, Nicholas Morrow gets trapped, does get released, doesn't really get on the tackle. Our DBs are left to mop up. You know, this isn't really a good look against the run. And Eddie ends up making a tackle. So again, up front, and linebacker play particularly, not starting off very well here. Again, Travis Gibson, you see the tight end's trying to seal him this time. Look at how he's fighting against that to get outside contain. Great. Okay, Armon Watts getting upfield to make a cutback. Fine. But we do have a cutback because that's sealed. Nicholas Morrow isn't attacking here enough. And this is Roquan Smith on a wide receiver, for Christ's sake. And he's just trying to run around the block. I mean, that's potentially a hold, but look at Jalen Jones there, just getting really physical. But, you know, left trying to arm tackle. You know, Morrow again can't get off the block, leaving it to DBs. DBs do come up again. Kyler Gordon making a good sound tackle. You know, from being out wide covering Justin Jefferson to making a tackle. Good effort, rookie. So I can hear you saying now, I thought you said it got better in the fifth drive. Well, it did get better in the fifth drive. So, I mean, again, in terms of alignment, outside, safety's really wide, actually. So, I mean, you might be thinking here, if you're a veteran QB, you might be thinking this might be a match with a zone kind of concept. And again, head up with safety high. So you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, okay, what kind of coverage am I going to get? Well, it actually, you can quite clearly see as the motion starts, we're now rolling up and off again. We've seen this before, where he comes up and becomes a run defender. But you see, this time, he doesn't. He comes up and over, and we get inside here. So they're doing that sort of stretch action again. Again, Robert Quinn doing the right thing. You see him convert early, and this is the thing for me. Robert Quinn really makes this. You see him come up, chase down, sees Kirk put the ball out, and then pull it in early, and watch him convert and get upfield. This has happened to us on these naked boots for Justin. Every single game, people have made this adaptation. And again, in terms of zone, recognising your zone threats, that's zone threat under, zone threat under. Morrow's doing a better job here. Roquan completely divorced from his only threat, which is here. We're not aware of it. Two safeties over top, so it is actually cover two, but it's like a disguised. That's the under. You really want to stay with that, Jalen, but at the end of the day, pressure's got there because of that conversion by Robert Quinn, getting up in his face. He just throws it away. I don't see a wide receiver near the ball here, personally. I mean, that's where the ball is. I don't see a wide receiver near that. I'm not sure if they were called grounding on that, but it's 1st and 10 at that point. And that was a good conversion. And again, just watching here, Robert Quinn. There goes that motion. That's where you think he might be rolling into one. And it's the last thing, don't forget, it's a reverse pivot, so he's not seeing anything really after this point. Tight end comes up, and you see as he sees the tight end coming towards him, just gets upfield to where the boot point's going to be. Morrow really needs to be looking here. Roquan needs to be aware that Thielen is right behind his back and coming across here because the boot is, let's not forget, the boot's coming across here. So you want to be now running this way, looking this way for things that are coming over here with stuff coming over the back, which you quite clearly see. This sort of flood, this levels concept here with a runoff. That's what they're trying to get. But Robert Quinn, again, just converting, just throws it away. I mean, that's... For me, that's grounding, but again, it's not called. But good stuff, Robert Quinn. Two more plays to show from the fifth drive, and this is the first of them. We look like we're in, again, quite obviously cover three with man, you would suggest. But again, that's stack, and you see a stack there. Potentially, you could have a match concept. Outside alignment would suggest zone to this side. Let's see what Kirk sees, and then what we're going to actually run on defense. So again, in terms of pressure, what are we actually getting? We're getting a stunt this time up front. So you can quite clearly see, and Travis Gibson does this really well. He manages to occupy two here, and so does Jalen Jones with Armon Watts coming behind the back. Robert Quinn coming upfield that way. Means you're leaving this here. You're trying to take these two. You're trying to take these two. Well, you're trying to get that and they're kind of running around the back. So that's what we're trying to do. Let's see what the linebackers are doing. Okay, well, we're up in match, quad clearly short zone, now in man. So it is some sort of match coverage, which means Kyler needs to be getting over here, or at least deep here. And again, that's where the ball's going, is Kindle Vildor's man. Sorry, is it Kindle Vildor's Jan Jones? Kindle Vildor. It is Kindle Vildor's man. Justin Jefferson. You've always got to be looking for Justin Jefferson at the end of the day. And this is the issue. That zone is going to be sorted out with these two. You want your DB to be at the depth of zone, and that is the depth of zone, so I'm not going to argue too much. My problem with this is that the safety is just way too divorced to help out the corner, really, making the job harder for the corner to come up and chase that. So again, Kindle Vildor's going to get the beating here, but this is way too conservative for me for cover two. This is way too far off our threats, and it leaves our corners really having to cover a lot of ground in this area because we're not starting at the front of the zone and then retreating. So front of the zone would be here, where the first down marker is. Front of the zone would be here. Again, where are we? We're kind of at the back of the zone, almost as if they're going deep. It's just an easy throw out there. And Justin Jefferson decides he doesn't want Kindle Vildor because he's a pretty physical tackler. Let's see what we get up front. Decent work on the stunt. Again, you want to be wrapping up a little bit tighter there, if we're being honest. And the ball is out quick again because it's just an easy out. So easy completion. And this is the final play of the drive on defense. What's really interesting here is we see Roquan Smith come out to the half back on the boundary. So it looks very much like man to start off with. As you see him come over here, you see him. So this looks like, because we've got a bunch here. So that's Roquan, that's Nicholas Morrow. This is Nicholas Morrow over Dalvin Cook. There's Roquan up as the first. We look like we're in man across the board, and you see the safety pointing. Looks like 4 across the board. Again, much wider split, something that teams have done against us. When we don't have a back in the backfield. But then what happens? Okay, well, what happens is we get like a 5 under. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 under with 2 over the top. So this is something that we haven't done. It's a disguised coverage. We look like we're in man. This is the short zone. That's that zone. This is this zone. This is this zone. This is this. And what's happening, we're actually recognising that we've got 3 to this side and we're running towards where that coverage might be. Roquan getting good depth, almost like a Tampa 2 that he's running there. We're at the depth of the zone. Obviously, this is way behind the sticks. But what happens up front? Well, what happens up front is Jalen Jones comes off the stunt again by Travis Gibson. This time, you see how he's much flatter. Gets home with the sack because at the end of the day, Justin Jefferson has no quick routes this time. Everything's past the sticks. Gets the stunt. Time for Justin Jones to get home. It's great work up front by the boys there. So again, Travis Gibson taking on the double. Wrapping around the back very, very straight this time. You almost want to kind of go straight like that. And again, in terms of Robert Quinn and Dominic Robinson, it's almost the reverse of going here, here, and there. That's basically what the stunt is. In terms of how it comes up front, they handle Dominic Robinson, but Dominic Robinson just munches the centre there. And Justin Jones, he's left when they're trying. Look at that getting off the guard. Ingram. Out of LSU, who I liked, and that's because Gibson really should be given an assist on this sack. That's great work up front. He gets a bull rush on the tackle, and he manages to chip the guard as well, and that leaves Justin Jones to get home with the sack. So this is the 6th drive for the Vikings. They actually scored in their 7th, which was the last touchdown of the game. This is the 6th. Let's see what we see again. In terms of alignment, again, you're looking at it, you're making guesses. This time the safeties are much closer up. Look, we're not starting so far back. So what's the adjustments we made? Well, the safety is actually a little bit closer up. We're coming in, but we're almost sort of manning into this point. So again, we're not even sure what we're getting in terms of coverage. It looks like blocking, the man blocking up front. That looks like a massive hold on Travis Gibson there. In terms of what are we getting up front, it is a handoff to Mattison this time. It's a hold which again isn't called here, but look at the fact we're starting to look at getting outside contain now. We do, because it's outside contain. Who's there in the backfield? Oh my God, it's Kyler Gordon. Where did he come from? Again, blitzing off this edge. Look how quick in the versatility he gives you chasing this down from behind. The speed, and he comes up, makes the tackle with Angelo Blackson, who was being held initially, also making the tackle. Roquan, and then for some, starting from here, Jaquan Brisket also getting in on the tackle, much more aggressive up front and much more aggressive in terms of chasing it up downfield against the run. Again, look at the difference here. This time we're swimming outside the double. That's a great work there, Angelo Blackson. And again, you know, the referee, I mean, God bless him, the referee, he's obviously got really bad vision to not see this, because that quite clearly is a hold. And again, Roquan, much quicker. He's starting to go that way, but you see, this time he's looking at the running back, and you see him start to come outside because he sees the guard coming towards him. Gets outside, looks at where Blackson is. Okay, Blackson's in the backfield. I can go play contain if I need to. Blackson sort of jets and follows that way. Carter Gordon coming down from this backside blitz. Here he is. That's where he is. That backside blitz coming in, making the tackle. Angelo Blackson coming in. Everyone stripping at the ball. Good stuff, boys. Much better up front, much more aggressive. That's the way I want to see the Bears play defense. So we've got a good run stop. Now it looks like we're sort of showing pre-snap either cover 2 or 6. Looks like man here with the nickel, which is Carter Gordon again. Obviously, in terms of what they've got, this is a tight end. That's a half back to that side. And again, you see Roquan coming up over the top of there. And you see Morrow almost looking like he's going to rob here. But again, right at the snap, you see we're getting much tighter. I love this physicality on Justin Jefferson here. We didn't do this team all game to start off with. Look at Kindle Vildor here, just absolutely stuff him off the line of scrimmage. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going to come and play press, that's how you want to play press. What I do like here is Jalen Jones is pointing, that's the under zone. I'm in cover 6. So we've got cover 2 principal up here over the top. It looks like more of a 4 because we've got 2 here potentially deep. So it looks more like a 4 to this side, a 2 to this side. And then obviously Roquan is a free man. So free man, when they stay at home, what do? You convert to a blitz, which he does. And it makes Kirk want to throw the ball early. And because we've got such a good jam on Justin Jefferson, there really is nothing to go to. And that is much better coverage and much better press on the outside by Kindle Vildor. Again, Kindle Vildor much maligned. That's the way you jam a man at the line of scrimmage. You knock him on the floor, which he does. And then he's staying on his hip pocket, looking at the QB all the time. You know, if he tries to throw that back shoulder, that's being picked off and sixth. But great stuff up front. And again, we're getting that. The reason why is because we're getting an inside sell. And that's why he's coming outside, because he's actually on the contain here. But Mattison has to come up and take that because he beats the offensive tackle like a cheap drum. Robert Quinn beating Darasaur easily. We're getting Gibson beating his guy easily, 2 guys easily, in fact. And then Roquan, because the halfback stays in, turns into a dog, comes up and blitzes. See the man, chase the man, hit the man, which he does. And again, Kirk is just literally thrown away because Kindle Vildor got such a good press on Justin Jefferson. So this is the last play on defense that I'm going to show today. The next drive after this was the 7th. It was the one where the Vikings got the go-ahead score, and we all know what happened on offense after that for the Bears. But in terms of what do we get in terms of looks up front, looks quite like cover 2 man, to be honest, in terms of we're up in press. So it looks like cover 2 man initially. We're in base defense, 3 linebackers on the field. Let's see what we get up front. This time Ham goes across, but Roquan is actually shifting to follow. Morrow is staying at home and going a little bit later. Again, we need to recognise earlier linebackers that the linemen are not getting up on the line of scrimmage, and the fullback is coming this side. Al-Qadim Mohammed, again, not getting upfield on that backside, 2 yards, just coming straight down the line of scrimmage, which is a little bit sort of lazy. That's why he's a little bit slow to turn. Turns like a super tanker in the ocean. Takes about an 18-mile turning circle there. Linebacker's a little bit late, but Thielen running sort of here. We can quite clearly see now we're in a traditional sort of cover 2 zone. So they've basically got a big zone here. You've got the under zone. You've got the under zone. You've got this big zone. So that's basically what the cover 2 looks like. There goes Justin Jefferson, so all eyes would be on him. Kindle's actually looking back at the QB, sees his fullback coming. That's actually his man because that's the under zone. But you can see what Kindle is also seeing is he's recognising Thielen coming across, and that's where Kirk's looking. And he knows he's going to kind of throw towards just the outside of this hash round about here. Let's see what Kindle does. He goes, he picks off not even his man, but it's just good eye discipline from the DB This is his zone, so that would be his threat number one. This would be, you see, good communication on the back end as well, because he's actually calling the other safety over here. I think that's Eddie Jackson calling the other safety over. But Kindle runs the spot. It's not even his man. It's just good eye discipline, going and making a play. Nicholas Morrow, I want to see you right on the back of Adams, because there comes Darasaur. First man that you see off the back of here, you want to snot. That would be him, and you're giving Kindle a chance then to run across. Christian Darasaur is actually a pretty quick lineman for a big guy. Chasing him down, gets a tackle. Kindle, I'm not sure, knew what to do when he first caught it. He was thinking, do I go down? What do I do? Oh shit, I better run with it. Morrow doesn't bother to block the nearest guy to him, which is the guy who makes a tackle. But a great interception for your first, Kindle, because that really was you making a play. Again, this quite clearly is just everyone's going across the line of scrimmage this way. You need to be coming up and then chasing down 2 yards, like we saw with Robert Quinn. You can then convert to a rush, particularly when you see a fullback. That's why it takes so long to turn. You know, it's like a limousine trying to turn in a car park. It takes for ages forever to get round. But you can quite clearly see, you know, Kirk, God bless him, never takes his eyes off Thielen. Kindle sees it. That's Kindle's man. Here comes Kindle. Right to the spot, probably here is where the ball's going to go. So let's see if we're right on that in terms of that reference. We'll clear it off. Let's see if we're right. Yep, that's pretty much right. And Kindle elevates, gets in front, takes the ball, turns. Okay, what do I do now? I've never had one of these interceptions before. Do I turn this way? Which way to go? Mike Pennell say, yeah, go run. At the end of the day, we do get some blocking up front. That's there. If we get that, it looks like we've got a pretty good wall here, to be honest. But we don't get that block from Morrow because he runs wide, and that's why Kindle has to go wider and wider and wider. If Morrow makes that block, I think Kindle's away, to be honest. But a good interception for your first, and it's a good way for the defence to step up in the second half with some more exotic coverages and some more exotic stuff up front, and playing much more faster and physical up front, pressing people, making them make mistakes. That's the way the Bears need to start. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications on if you haven't already done it. Share it to your social medias. Be kind, bear down, Bearlissimo.